We're good to go, Steve?
Yeah, we're good to go. We're streaming on YouTube. Dan, are we good to go on 11?
Good.
Yes, channel 11 is good.
All right, call the meeting to order. This is the August 10, 2020, 5 p.m. regular meeting of the Franklin Fiscal Court. And Madam Clerk, will you call the roll, please?
Yes, sir. Commissioner Jones,
I'm here.
Commissioner Parker,
Here.
Commissioner Bartleman,
Here.
Judge Connor.
Here. We have a quorum all present. Mr. Bartleman, will you offer a prayer, please?
Sure will. Let us pray. Father, we just thank you for the blessings of this day. We thank you for the opportunity we have to serve this county and the people of this county, Father. We just pray you be with us as we make decisions that be the best interest to help the citizens and live a better life. Father, we pray for all our first responders that are out there on the front lines, for the courage they have to provide us the safety we need to be a safe community, Father. Again, we just pray you be with them as they perform their duties. We also pray for those on the first line of the COVID-19 pandemic. Be with all those hospital workers and medical workers and all the teachers and others who will have to face issues in the coming days, coming weeks, and coming months. We're so thankful for what you do for us. It's in Jesus' name we pray. Amen.
Amen.
Thank you. And we stand and join me in the pledge, please. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic which stands one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. And then the first on the agenda is the consent agenda. Is there a motion to approve that?
So move.
Second.
Motion and second. Any discussion? All in favor of approving this consent agenda, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, no. That carries. Budget transfers, Madam Treasurer.
It is ordered that the necessary cash transfers in the amount of $865,000 be made in order to pay county bills and payroll approved August 10th, 2020.
So made.
Second.
Motion second. Any discussion? All in favor, aye.
Aye.
Opposed, no. That carries. Accounts payable.
It is ordered to approve the vouchers claims register from July 27th, 2020 to August 10th, 2020 to show county bills in the amount of $1,777,359.78 were paid.
So made.
Second. Is that high because of paving? Is that what's drove that a high?
No, there were some bank payments in this run.
Oh, okay. Bond payments.
Yes.
Okay.
Any other discussion? All in favor, aye.
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 Opposed, no. That carries. Discussion 4A. This is for the fire rates, tax rates for three of the fire departments, Concord, Hendron, and Lono. So we got Doug Cooper here for, let's see, you're Hendron, right, Chief?
Yes, sir.
Right. And let's see, we have somebody from Concord. I don't see anybody here. Concord. Got Lono Fire Department, got Dr. Smith up there. There we go. We've got Concord here as on the first on the docket, the agenda, but I don't see anybody here. Maybe they'll join on here in a little bit. How about Hendron, Chief Cooper.
Okay, our board met last Monday and our board voted to maintain our tax rate the same that it was last year, which is 0.0755. The same rate we had last year.
Any questions, discussion about that? Issues?
Questions? Thank you.
Thank you for leaving your rate the same, Mr. Cooper. You're quite welcome.
Anything else for anyone? And got Lone Oak Fire Department, or Smith.
Yes, sir. Good evening. Got Chief Freeman here with me. You can see him there. Our board met in July, and we set our rate for this coming year at 0.052.
Is that an increase, decrease, or the same?
That is an increase from 0.047. We've been at that 0.47 rate for the last 4 years or so. Just to give you a rationale why we thought we need to have an increase. We're now paying about $18 a call for each dispatch from Central. We've got to pay about $8,000 every 3 years for an audit for the fire commission, and then our workman's comp insurance gone up quite a bit. Those are just the business aspects of it. We're in a cycle every 10 years. We have to purchase some new turnout gear at the cost of about $25 a set. So we're in that 10-year cycle, and we expect our trucks to last 20 to 30 years. The price of these trucks has gone up amazingly over the last year. So we're always looking about 20 years down the road. Each 0.001, we get about $7,000 increase. That's the reason we did that.
This will generate about another 35,000. Am I doing the right math?
Yeah, roughly. We think from that it would. We don't know what to expect when we get the new property valuation for our Lone Oak area. We're hoping that will balance out with what we've lost from losing some of our business district to the city expansion. So that's kind of where we're at.
How much are you losing to the city? What area are you losing to the city? What are they?
Well, we got around super value in that area, Bill.
Yeah,
I'm sorry. Which area? I'm sorry.
When you're coming south on Lone Oak Road, Bartleman, that what used to be the old, if you remember when the old drive-in was there, that was in our district. That's now a city business district. The banks, grocery stores now in the city, that new development that goes all the way up to Parker's heading south on Lone Oak Road, that's all in the city now. So I don't know the dollar amount that works out to, but it's, we think we're hoping that the reevaluation will balance that out for us.
Did they annex those in the last year or so, or is that over a long period of time?
That newest shopping center in the last been this year, because that's a new development. I think so, probably 3 years ago. The bank supermarket changed to the city 2-3 years ago when they put the liquor store in there.
Okay, thank you. We just need to do something to stop them from taking our land and our revenue. We lose revenue too. We lose the payroll tax and the net profits tax, and we can't do anything to stop them. We need to have some method to stop them. It really hurts. Like yours, that's a pretty good lick to lose that assessment.
Yeah, off the top of my head, the only other area that we lost that the Grove subdivision was originally county property, but when it was developed, it was moved into the city. So that there's quite a that's quite a nice subdivision out there. So that was a change, but that's been a few years ago.
So
Let me ask this, and I guess I'll know the answer to this question, but Dr. Smith or Chief Cooper, well, that was to the Lone Oak annex property there. Let's say somebody calls and reports that a house in that subdivision or the Banks Market, there's a fire. I guess the answer is 911. If they call 911, they know to send city fire, not county.
Yes, sir. Right? Yes, sir. That's correct. Now we have a great working relationship with, especially with Chief Cooper and the guys from Hendron and with Chief McGowan and the guys from Concord, and also, the folks from the city. So if we got a call to go to Banks Market, we're going to go and we'll figure it out when we get there. So, but the folks at Central do a really good job of knowing, what district the call comes in at with their CAD system. But we have a mutual aid relationship. If we get a call, we're going to go, and then we'll figure it out once we get there.
I think we all appreciate the work the volunteer fire departments do. If we had to have a paid departments in this county, it would really be an expense to taxpayers. So for the service that you provide, it's a good investment. Appreciate all the work you've done, and pass it on to your crew. I know they spend a lot of time training and on call 24 hours, and just appreciate all the work you do.
Well, thanks, sir. We're just to add to what I said. We're operating 3 stations, and we have an ISO Class 3 rating. So we're pretty proud of our rating and what we've done, and we do that on the shoulders of men like Cave Thomas and W.B. Ford and Jim Johnston. So everything that we have today is because of work that was done 30, 40 years ago, and we're trying to we're trying to leave the guys who are coming after us with in a good situation. But everything we have today is based on the work our previous predecessors did for us.
And my comments are meant for all the volunteer departments we have. Everybody does. Lone Oak, Reedland, Hendron, Concord, West McCracken, they all just do a great job.
Yes, sir. Thank you.
So Judge,
go ahead.
Yes, I just kind of confirming. My understanding is that we don't actually vote on the volunteer fire department increases, decreases, or rates at all. They were accepted out of Senate Bill 5. Is that these are just announcements, correct?
Yes. And I don't know about Concord. We didn't get anybody there, but we can invite them to maybe join in the next meeting. I would like to join in this whole body, fiscal court, with things that Mr. Marlin said. It's every opportunity I get to speak to people, I'd like to mention our volunteer fire departments, that the people are putting the time and effort, as Mr. Marlin said, the training, taking time away from your families, your the other jobs you may have, and that sort of thing. I've been to several of the stations, got great equipment, spit, shine, and polished, up to the chore, as all the members are as well. So it's I mean, I wish that people would appreciate that we do have fire protection throughout the county by people who are sacrificing themselves and their time and their family's time to provide that service. In most situations, no pay, as contrasted with other places where it is a paid fire department. So that does save the county a great deal of money, and the fact we have people willingly provide that speaks to the kind of folks we have. So we appreciate that.
Thank you, sir.
Either.
Thank you.
Y'all welcome to stay on, take off, whatever.
Thank
All
you.
right, let's see. 4B, Sheriff's Department, we call that retention. This concerns some discussions that Steve Doodle and I have had with Sheriff Carter, and I wanted to put it on for just some general discussion, kind of brainstorm, spitball a little bit, see where we are on this. It concerns pay for sheriff's personnel and in relationship to other entities, how we stack up in pay, that sort of thing. So we want to just turn it over to the sheriff. You got anything before?
Turn it over to the sheriff. I have some materials to share.
Sheriff, you're on.
Okay. I guess I would start by just thanking you all for the opportunity to address this very serious issue. Did everyone receive the 7-page PDF and the graphs that I emailed all the commissioners and the judge last Friday?
Yes, sir.
There's a number of different issues here at hand. Is there any particular questions based upon the information I provided that maybe anyone has to kind of get this started? And if not, I can just kind of roll through to highlight the kind of the 3 points. No questions?
We probably will as you get through the documents or whatever we get to look at.
Hey, Matt.
Yes.
I'll ask a couple, maybe get us started. And I'm having trouble pulling mine up. So, but anyhow, I think what were we ranked, like 7th or 8th out of 9 or 10 of the departments around us as far as pay?
Well, we compared just kind of randomly to 7 other area agencies right here in Western Kentucky. And we were the lowest paid out of those particular 7 agencies. When you compare call volume along with that, which I think is a huge part and something that's got to be taken into consideration, when you look at the calls per deputy, our guys are busier than any of these agencies by far. The only agency that exceeds the number of calls that we respond to annually is the Paducah Police Department. But when you divide out the number of calls they have for service compared to their manpower and the number of calls of service we have annually compared to our manpower, it's around 400 to 500 calls more that each deputy responds to and responsible for possibly making split-second decisions that could affect their life, their family's life, the betterment of our community and this in our county each and every day. So that's where it stands in way of pay and in the call volume.
So am I reading this right? So your starting pay is 33,000?
That's correct.
That include the incentive?
That does not. All of the starting pay comparisons with the agencies listed, that is apple to apple. Each one is not including the incentive pay. And then you can see where that variance starts taking place after year one.
So then you top out at 42,000, and does that include incentive pay?
No, the 42 does not include incentive pay.
But none of them include the incentive pay, correct?
Correct. The chart
all the way through 10 years is apple to apple.
Correct.
So we're ahead of Livingston County.
Well, yes and no. Starting pay, we are by just about $2,500. But after the first year, we fall behind them as we're at 36,000 and they're at 39,520.
I see.
We don't catch them till year 3.
That's correct. And when you look at calls for service, again, I think that's something that's got to be taken into strong consideration. Geographically, 29, less than 3,000 calls a year compared to, I know last year we had around 36,000.
You have 27 deputies. How many road deputies?
Well, we typically at full staff have a total of 25.
How many do you have now?
Right now, we are 4 short on the road. We currently have just this year we've lost 6 deputies. 3 of those were due to retirement. 3 of those pursued careers at different agencies. But we're currently we currently have 5 full-time openings that we have not filled. We've recently solicited 2 specific certified officers, and I don't use solicited flippantly there. I mean, we specifically targeted and spoke to a couple that currently work at other agencies that we thought would be a very good fit, good qualified officers for here, and at trying to maximize their starting pay, we still fell significantly short in them being able to make the financial best decision for them and their family. I currently know of 6 specific other certified officers that has shown great interest in wanting to come to the sheriff's department, but the same thing applies. They're just unfortunately unable to make that move or crossover due to their current financial obligations that they have for their family. We've been trying to hire 2 individuals since around March due to the COVID. The KLEC is significantly behind, and we actually just Friday afternoon late got confirmation that they're going to be able to start their step process next month. It's towards the end of next month, but we can't even get an academy slot for them until they have completed that. They've been hired and they're officially in the ACADA system. Right now, if we were able to hire them, well, as of last week, if we were able to hire them last week, the earliest academy date that we could have possibly gotten them in would have been March of 2021. And right now, everything's running approximately 14 to 16 months behind from the time you hire an individual to the time they become a benefit to the agency or community. So we currently, I know last year, whenever I spoke to you gentlemen, I informed you that we had a total of 16 deputies that within the next 2 years either could retire or some in which that was in the Deputy R program that they could retire at that very moment. Since then, 3 of them that I was specifically referring to has left, which brings our total to about 13. The reason that I bring this all up and the reason that I feel so very much passionate about this and to be quite honest with you, very concerned about this is when you start losing guys that have, 20, 25 years of experience to other agencies or they retire, that's nothing that you can just quickly replace that knowledge with. And especially in the current atmosphere that law enforcement is out conducting the job that they do, you've got to have the most qualified people that you possibly can hire to be out there making these decisions. And if not, it can be very detrimental. And with the delay in getting people qualified and certified to where they can go out and be a benefit to the agency and community, again, you're a year and a half off. And we are right now operating under a skeletal crew. If it wasn't for COVID, if it wasn't for the number of transports being down, we wouldn't be able to have made a move that we just made in which we put one of the transport units out on patrol to provide some added help to those out on patrol. But oftentimes we're running with as little as 3 deputy sheriffs patrolling this county, 260 plus square miles, answering this call volume. I think everybody can see the ripple effect that causes to these men and women out here each and every day, the stress load that's on them and the workload that's on them. And we're honestly on the brink that we had another individual that we spoke to here in recent weeks that was showing very strong interest in applying in another agency in which he could have had a significant pay raise for him and his family. And he was convinced to stay with the hope that help is around the corner. And last but not least, I think the thing that you've got to look at and consider, most of us are aware of the retirement system, the high 3 and what that means to those that are fortunate enough to be in the tier 1 or tier 2 retirement system. And, I think that we're a year or 2 away to having another half a dozen or more people that possibly might consider going elsewhere to make those high 3s more beneficial for something that's going to affect them and their family for a real long time. So we try hard. I know that there's a lot of different areas of the county and leaders and other offices that have come with their handout. We try hard over here to try to help supplement and ask for as little as we have to from the fiscal court. I've looked since 2019. We've spent about $182,000 out of our drug fund to purchase equipment that was approved or training that would be approved through the auditor's office. I currently started the Sheriff's Foundation, and we just currently paid for about $3,000 of online training opportunities for the agency. And since I've been sheriff, we've taken in about over $750,000 worth of equipment that we have had donated. But we're honestly at the brink of a crisis. If something doesn't give, I'm going to have to make difficult decisions. There's not a bigger fan or an advocate of things like our DARE program than I am. I think everybody knows my position on drugs and my passion for the youth in our community. But unfortunately at the sheriff's office, I don't have the luxury to have someone that can go around and do nothing but teach DARE or visit and participate in PR type events. Our DARE officer is a full-time deputy sheriff. So, my fear is that things like that are going to run the risk of having to go away and not be able to provide if we can't afford to lose that individual off the road. We respond every week, if not every day, to various requests for special details, and not to mention just the mere risk of delaying response to emergency calls to the citizens that have come to expect and deserve a professional agency. And I feel like that we've got some of the very best men and women in the business out there currently responding to these calls on a daily basis and providing service that I believe the public by and large has put a stamp of approval on. But there's only certain things as sheriff that I can do in terms of creating a positive work environment. And I believe respectfully that we've done that. But when it comes to the finances and sometimes the things that mean the most and under the current circumstances, that's where you all come in. And, I believe that the citizens, again, deserve to continue to have the most qualified professional law enforcement officers ready to respond to their needs. And but we must take action on this now. I was kind of taken back when Dr. Smith was talking about and giving credit to the various chiefs that had made them successful today. And I would submit to you all that each of you, along with myself, are currently in a position that we're going to pave the way for the future. And this is either going to become very dismal or it's going to become very positive. And but we cannot continue to fall behind or we're on the brink of a crisis. I'll say that again, and I'm not using that word loosely. That's where we're at. I feel like it's my responsibility to keep you all apprised of that. I feel like it's my responsibility to keep the public apprised of that. And, I'm just trying to be open and transparent. And again, I'll be glad to answer any question that you have, but that's where we're at. And we've got to do something. We've got to do something now.
I've got two questions.
Yes, sir.
Question number one is if we keep up with in your graph, KSP is, they look, is that a competitive place for us to be to match KSP? And if we match KSP, how much would it cost us?
Which graph are you looking at?
The one that says KSP starting salary is 36,000, first year 40, about 42.
Okay, let me catch up with you here.
I'm not asking you to do. I guess I'm asking generally where it is you want us.
Hey, Eddie, I'd ask him to run numbers of being within about 85% of what Paducah pays. So he may have those. Matt, did you?
Yes, I do. And we're talking currently here on this, but we would be looking at 80%. Right now and I did include, to the best of my ability, taking into consideration the increase that would be in place for the retirement, and the total at 80%, including the retirement increase, would be $570,000.
Now, what was the figure? What did you say?
I was asked to just compare at an 80% rate what it would take to become within 80% of the city's salary. The salary amount is about $407,000, and the increased amount for the retirement would be about $162,000 for a total of about $570,000.
Well, and of course, that's for KSP. To me, the obvious concern is that here, 300 yards from where I'm sitting is.
Hey, Judge, I think I'd ask him to do that on Paducah Police, not on KSP. So those numbers are with 300 yards from where you're sitting.
Okay.
Yes, that's correct.
I thought you were talking KSP. So
that's what Eddie asked about, but I think more apple to apple would be with Paducah.
Okay. And Paducah's starting salary, so it's a third roughly higher than our starting salary. And then go to 5 years, looks like it's still almost 30% or so higher. But they also, I think I read that Paducah is going to agree to pay their officers an additional 7% over the next 3 years. I'm not positive, but I think those numbers are what I read. And so they're increasing still. And so that sets the bar highly tempting for there are people that look at, moving laterally over here to the Paducah police. I, as you know, police both the county and the city. It's a much better job policing the county than the city. Of course, that was back just a few years. So just a few. So there's our main competition, but the fact that these other small, well, of course, we've got Marshall and we've got Crystal County, but even Calvert City is far above us. Of course, they got the plants, they got the revenue from all those plants. I guess would explain why they pay their people so much money. You had a second question also, Mr. Jones.
Well, I guess they were related. I guess I was trying to figure out the target ranges. I mean, is KSP having trouble filling their position? I guess I'm trying
Yes.
I'm trying to figure out why they are so much lower than the city of Paducah as well.
I know that state police used to be even lower than that. I think in the past few years they've gotten some raises, but this is nothing that is unique to just Paducah-McCracken County or the sheriff's office here. Nationwide, everything that I've looked at and read, applicants are down significantly. I know specifically one that sticks out in my mind. I looked at Nashville PD, and in 2010 they had it was right at 5,000 applicants. Last year, I think that they had it was less than 2,100, I believe. I'm pulling those numbers off the top of my head, but it was about a third of what they had. So, the current again, the current climate and atmosphere that these men and women are out protecting and serving in has certainly changed greatly over the past decade. And yet we're requiring more and more of them. And if there's ever been a time that it's imperative to have the most qualified people, it's now. And, this is no different than the private sector. When you possess or you're looking for someone that has a specialty in training in a particular trade, bottom line is there used to be more people wanting to do this work than there were positions available. So I think that you had a little more leadway to get away with maybe not paying as well, but yet someone still desiring to go into the field. They were just looking for that place to be an opportunity for them to get started. And it's just changed. And now there is, quite frankly, there's fewer people that want to do this work with many more openings available. So you've got a lot more options as candidates prepare to go into this field or look for career opportunities. And again, no different than the private sector. They're going to look at where they're going to be taken care of the most and get the most opportunity for them and their family to provide. So we've got to look at this and take care of those that are here now and protect our future for up and coming retirements and openings to ensure that we can get those qualified people in here. I feel like that we have collectively as an agency taking great strides to move forward and to become a more professional entity than we were a few years ago. And I feel very good and positive about that. But I also know and believe that it's very reasonable to see that we're a few short months away from that going to a halt and us possibly regressing on the fact of losing the qualified people that we have and not being able to replace them easily, or at least be far enough down the road that we're going to suffer greatly as a result of it.
Let me just say that, I mean, Sheriff, if you were giving this as a sermon and you were now going to say every head bowed and every eye closed, who's for you, we would all rush to the altar.
Understand.
We're going to fall all over ourselves trying to convince the public that we are most in favor of the sheriff's office. That being said, we got to figure out what this is going to cost and how to get there, because less than a year ago, we told the county we were broke because we were broke. And how do we get, mean, is your suggestion we just institute it all at once? You got a phase in thought? Are you just the beginning of this? Is this just the beginning of the discussion we're going to keep having?
Well, I mean, of course, I've had this discussion, as you all know, in both budget workshops that we've worked collectively with. What I did not want to happen is the wheels really began to fall off of this, and any one of the commissioners or judge or public for that matter question me on why in the world did I not bring this to your all's attention. So first and foremost, I probably have got 3/4 of the agency watching this right now. I've told them that I am doing all that I can to make their worth while in staying here. We've got, I think anybody that polled our agency, again, they would tell you that this is a very favorable place to work. And as far as the county budget, respectfully, I mean, I don't know the ins and outs of that. I know the ins and outs of our budget. I know that we've come in overall under budget each year, and we try to be, very frugal with the funds that were provided. I think more than anything, if you all can provide some hope and a plan to, not necessarily do this overnight, but start instituting a plan and a process with an ordinance so that these men and women can understand that they are appreciated, that they are being paid a fair wage for what they're out here doing each and every day. And they knew that there was light at the end of the tunnel. I think that would be one of the first best steps that we could take. Understand that the insurance tax, there's some unknowns to that. Again, that's where you all come in as commissioners and the fiscal court to make these decisions.
There's light at the end of the tunnel. That's why we did what we did last year, and then along came the corona. But what I'm trying to get to is, so we've got 25 full staff. Right now we're 21. And as I recall, you want to be at 27 in a perfect world.
In a perfect world, the 25 is not adequate to do what we would love to do. And I've been asked, do we add manpower? Do we add an increase of those that are serving? And as I've said before, I feel like that we've got to take care of those that are here currently serving now, because quite frankly, if you all gave me the green light to have, to hire additional staffing right now, I'll be honest with you, I don't know how successful we'd be at filling that because of us not being a very strong competitor in the current wages that are out there and other opportunities that are in existence. So I think we've got to get competitive, number one, and number two, down the road, once we take care of those that are here serving now, look at what the future holds in terms of additional manpower.
So in this comparison, are there overtime opportunities? Are there more overtime opportunities at the sheriff than there are at the police department?
I would say no. As far as overtime opportunities, overtime is just kind of the nature of the beast for any law enforcement agency that you're going to be, subject to have.
And I guess what I'm trying to figure out is if we go ahead and figure out a way to go to 27, understanding that you don't have the applicants to do that. But if you were to get to 27, does that decrease the cost of overhead?
Yeah, I think currently it certainly would, under the circumstances where I think we just recently last week sent out an email on our Planet scheduling that offered multiple shifts that I'm too uneasy to call the level or number of deputies that were out to be safe or effective. So, you constantly have in this shortage right now overtime opportunities that exist. And we've got men and women that step up on a regular to fill those. Along with that, one thing that I've not mentioned, just as so that I can convey all of my notes to you, we've got over 15 deputies that's got secondary employment. And my position, irregardless of who might think that it's right or wrong, I just think that's sad that a deputy in a county this size should have to have second and some even a third job to make ends meet for what they do. So How we get there, I don't have the answer for that. I'm just asking that you all, not take this lightly, not suggesting that you have, but to not take this lightly and to look at any way possible to help generate an approach that we can show that we do appreciate, and we're going to pay these men and women what they're worth.
Okay.
Matt, that number of 25, that's road deputies, is that correct?
That's right.
That's
We
not
have,
supervisors or drug enforcement or detectives. That's just road deputies who are out there night and day patrolling the roads. Is that right?
That's right. That's 25.
And is that,
And your comparison here, that just includes the road deputies. It doesn't include any others. And is that a comparison number like with Marshall County and others? Are their numbers just road deputies, or is that their overall average of the sheriff's department?
Are you talking about it when it comes to the salary comparison?
Yeah, the comparison chart you have, yeah.
Well, different agencies have a different pay scale in their ordinance as far as, for example, like a detective at the sheriff's office, they go up a certain percentage versus other agencies, they may go up just simply $1 an hour. So this would be more fair to say this is on a road deputy comparison as far as the numbers that's been provided in the charts.
Okay. Now, if you hire someone and they have 4 years experience, do they come in at the 4-year salary?
Yes, oftentimes we do bring them in at as high a salary as what I believe that their worth is, and even at that, we've fallen short in the last 2 or 3 attempts to get POP certified people.
How close were you on the ones you talked to who were short of what they were getting paid now?
One was about 6,000, and one was around 5,000. Just in those two particular circumstances.
And were they in the local agencies? What agencies were they with?
They were here in Western Kentucky.
Okay. Is there any movement of law enforcement officers who want to get out of cities and get into counties? If, for example, with what goes on in some of the big cities, are there any wanting to relocate and would rather work in a sheriff's department compared to a big city, a small county? Is there any recruiting available there? I know like Nashville, Chicago, St. Louis, New York, it's probably harder even there. It doesn't matter what you pay there, it's hard to recruit. Are there any who want to be law enforcement officers who might leave a city like that and come here for less money?
Yeah, we have talked to one individual from New York, and there was one phone conversation that we had, and then they failed to ever follow up. So I haven't had enough experience with your scenario to really give you an accurate response outside of, not to be redundant, but I think I've already kind of covered this, but more than anything right now, there are openings all across the country. So there's more opportunities for people that desire to be in law enforcement to compare one agency to the other. And that's where I just, that's where we're on the brink of this crisis and not being really in the same arena that so many other agencies have risen to when it comes to the pay.
I don't think any of us would doubt that we need to pay more and all those, but the problem is we don't have the funds to do that. Probably every government agency would say that their law enforcement need to be paid more than what they are. Part of the problem is the ballooning cost of retirement and other benefits. I mean, they're well deserved, but if you give somebody a $5,000 a year raise, it's going to cost almost $5,000 more to do that. So that, it's just, we got to find a way to, I think we all agree with you. We got to find a way to increase salaries, not only in your agency, but in the jail and other places too, because I think it's a problem that those two agencies have. So, I wouldn't be opposed to trying to find a way to reach at least for the first level over the next period of time, to maybe match the state police level. And that would help a little bit, and then go from there as we see about revenue coming into the city and county. When we talked to the fire departments, one of the issues that we talked about was annexation by the city of Paducah. And that affects the county too. We all know the Menards was annexed by the city of Paducah. That would have brought in the county, if I remember right, when it came in another $60,000 or $70,000 a year in payroll tax and net profits tax. But that's money we're going to lose that we could have used to hire additional officers or given raises. So if every time some area is developed for commercial development, the city comes in and gobbles it up, that costs us money. And that's why our payroll tax income has gone down over the years and not gone up, because the city annexes. And we've got to find a way for the city to cooperate with us and not grab that land from us.
So go back to the 550,000. That would get us within 80 or 85% of put it with KSP, plus it get us within 85% of what the city's paying, and that would include their retirement. So if we went over a 4-year period, 140 or 150,000 a year, is that math right? I mean, would that put us in 4 years? Would that put us in right in the mix with these other agencies?
On the 80% of the city at 570, yeah, 142,000 over the next 4 years would put us there as of right now.
But would put you within 80%?
Yes.
And I figured it on 600,000, so it'd probably put it around 85%.
Well, 80% of the numbers I have, 407, 164 on salaries and 162, 865 on retirement for a total of 570, 29.
I kind of like, so if we just add 6,000 to each of your categories, so your starting salary goes from 33 to 39, your first year goes from 36 to 42. I mean, in the math as easy as 6,000 times 25?
Not exactly, because then we're foregoing raises to detectives and other staffing that's here. So I think that what my request would be is as the fiscal court considers what money could be made available to provide an offset to this, is for us to be able to take that a dollar amount. We'll take 125,000 as just a rough figure, and to allow us to make a proposal off that $125,000 as to how that money is divvied out. As I look down through the whole agency, I've got, one person that sticks out in mind that's within maybe $3,000 of what they would be making a few blocks down the road. And I've got other people that are $15,000 behind what they would be making. So I think that we've got people that's all over the board. And part of this is kind of, we had a great start with this pay ordinance. I think one of the problems, respectfully, is ours kind of caps at 4. And after that 4th year, there's really no movement to pay unless there's a COLA that exists. So I would propose that the fiscal court come up with an amount that they felt like that they could provide to increase our salary line item. And then we put together a proposal based upon that amount, a new pay scale ordinance, so that we can be most efficient with where that money is spent, where the people are in need the most, between starting pay, those that are just out of the academy, all the way up to those that are on the brink of retirement.
I think we have to wait and see how much money comes in from the, maybe not wait totally, but I think when we see the revenue we're going to get from the insurance tax, I think our first priority from revenue there, when we have extra revenue, should be for salaries. Again, not only in the sheriff's office, but in the jail for some positions over there. But the sheriff ought to be probably number one priority, and not too far behind is the jail. So I think we have to see what's going to come in. I think we're going to probably come in better than hopefully than what we predicted and that. So I think that should be our top priority for revenue from the new tax we put on.
Sheriff, I guess here's my concern. I want to, you've sold me on the road deputy position. And so I want to make sure we're fixing the road deputy position. And I don't want to put you in a position of having money to make everybody happy. But I'm interested in continuing the conversation any way you think is important, but I guess the sermon you've given me is on road deputies, so I'm most interested in making sure we fix the road deputies.
I understand. And again, just to clarify, there is, you know, if we're going to use the city as a comparison, I've got the numbers. When we compare out everybody working here, whether they're in general investigations or drug division, an administrative position, or a patrolman or a road deputy, those numbers are going to reflect the same shortage, if you will. Okay. The city does structure like their detective pay just a little bit differently. But for example, I've got one detective sergeant that he could go down the road and make, you got that handy. He is, this particular deputy I'm talking about, as a detective sergeant, he could go down the road and have a 20% increase to his salary. So it's definitely not just the patrol. I mean, this is across the board, and you know, patrol serves a very important asset to the community. But our drug division, I would argue, is second to none when it comes to the region and state, as far as the work that they do and the crime that they prevent for their diligent efforts, and no different for our general investigators. I mean, every spoke in the wheel here serves a very critical role into protecting and serving our community.
Data I've been getting, I guess, I guess I just need to look at that data too, and you know, I can be receptive to that sermon as well. But the one I've gotten is on road deputies, and I'm very concerned about that 33,000. That just seems really, really low, and I can't imagine trying to recruit the position you're in and trying to recruit at 33,000.
Right.
And you know, if you told me that needs to be fixed sooner than later, I'd believe you. But
And how much is the incentive? Is that 4,000?
4,000.
But that
How
goes
many
all
deputies?
agencies. That goes all the agencies, right? Even the city police get 4,000.
Yeah. That's a standard amount that's paid. The county's not actually out there reimbursed for that money, the 4,000.
How many deputies have you lost to KSP? Have you lost any of them, or is it all mostly to the city? How many have you lost to the city?
One this year. Historically, I think a total of four, I believe.
And I guess, Steve Doolittle, we have no clue on anything on insurance tax money, right?
We will begin collecting at the end of the first quarter, which ends in September. So we'll start seeing receipts coming in October. And remember, we're only going to collect 3 quarters the first year. And then Commissioner Jones, to your comment about being concerned at just the bottom, when you only fix the bottom, then the ones in the bottom begin to catch the ones in the middle, and the ones in the middle begin to catch the ones that are a little bit higher up. And really, I think, while you look at that bottom number and it's shocking, you can't create a compression problem in the middle whereby I won't take a promotion to sergeant or so you begin to find yourselves, you got to fix it all the way up the ladder.
Yeah, I'm not suggesting that we wouldn't fix it all or try to fix it all, but I guess I'm concerned that there's vacancies and the sheriff is out recruiting and he's offering $33,000 and we're not going to be competitive. And while we're sitting around trying to figure out whether we got enough money to fix it all, we're not competitive in our recruiting presently, and we've got present vacancies.
Can we either do a workshop or have the sheriff and maybe Steve Doolittle get together and maybe come up with a number like that 150,000 that it would take to fix from the bottom up, the middle and the top, and how he would do it, so we can look at it and see a cost. So when we do get numbers in on the insurance, the first part of October, we would be ready to move on this.
Well, let's keep in mind, the reason we implemented the insurance tax is because we were, I won't say broke, but we were in a bad doggone position. And the reason we're in a bad doggone position is because the county had not for many years, 10, 15 years, implemented any sort of revenue increase. That's that 3-letter word nobody wants to hear about. And so now what I'm hearing is that rather than get us some piggy bank, get us a little savings, get us something where we can address any emergencies to just run our operation, that we take that result of the income tax and we divide it to pay salaries, keep ourselves in a hole as far as any savings, but increase salary. I'm as strong as anybody's going to be on increasing the salaries in the sheriff's department, because the other strong point is public safety is our number one mission. It's our number one requirement. It's above jobs, economic development, sports, tourism, business promotion, arts, entertainment, anything. We got to keep the people safe, and we do it through our sheriff's department, and we do it through our fire department that we just talked about. And so if we start thinking, well, let's wait and see what that insurance tax does, I think we're losing sight that that was to be used to give us some sort of a position where we could be fiscally responsible and have some savings. We have not budgeted for any increase in our property tax. We, just like our many administrations before, don't want to require people to pay for their government, or pay for protecting them. We could go up to 4%. If we were to do that, then we're talking about what, $15 to $20 perhaps a year per household to do that, and then have some money to pay our police agency, our deputy sheriffs all the way through it. I think that it's going to come a time when we need to recognize that we've got to do that. And I think that if we can get the message to our citizens of what we've just been talking about, that the city police department is paying their people a third more, and even at the 5-year point, just under 30% more than our sheriff's deputies. And our guys and ladies are working 2-3 jobs to try to make ends meet. I think it would be well received by the vast majority. There'll be some that'll gripe and moan, we expect that, but I think the vast majority of people will think, gosh, if it's going to cost me $10 a year, it's going to cost me, let's say I've got a lot of property. Maybe it's going to cost somebody that's, I haven't looked at the figures. I don't know if Steve has or not. It's a very small amount of money that would be required for people to pay if we increase just the county revenue on property by that 4% that we're entitled to do. But we are on schedule, on a mission to not do that, and just wait and see what the insurance tax will provide. And as I say, that was is supposed to be our safety blanket. And I hate to see that we're poised to lose some of our best law enforcement people, having myself been through that academy years ago, in policing in the county as well as in the city. And I think we don't have our priorities straight if we don't go ahead and generate some revenue. I think that people, when they see 4%, they think that's going to cost me a lot of money. But I think two things. One, it's not going to cost them a lot of money. A quarter a day, maybe, in that range for the majority of people. And if they see that we're going to do our best to earmark that for their protection for the sheriff's department, I think they'll be receptive to that.
And I understand
Can I
that.
comment? Can I comment on that?
Go ahead, Bill.
You know, part of my response to that is one of the reasons why we got in such bad financial condition is that past fiscal courts obligated the county to bonded indebtedness. And I think if we went back and added up the numbers, probably the decrease in our surplus is probably pretty well equal to bond payments that were made. They did bonds for different projects, but did not provide revenue to cover that. So we had to use our savings accounts to pay for that. And I think we had to implement the insurance tax to help overcome that. But we are going to have some money available that has been used for bonded indebtedness. We had the Teletech bonds or be paid off. That was $100-some thousand a year we were paying. The expansion of the jail annex, I think those bonds are paid off early next year. That was a certain amount of money. I don't remember all of those numbers in front of me, but that's going to be a couple $100,000 in past obligations that we're not going to have after. Some of them we don't have now, and some we won't have beyond January or February of next year. So we do have some extra revenue from those bonds that are being paid off that we don't have to pay anymore. And we could probably use some of that maybe to, without dipping into the money we're getting from the insurance tax. I think we have some revenue sources that are clearing up that we could use to maybe help enhance some salaries. But I think we have to see those numbers. We still don't know the full impact of the COVID-19 and how long that's going to last. And we thought that might be over by now, but it looks like that's going to continue on into probably early next year. But I think we will have some revenue, extra revenue, because those bonds will be paid off.
What are we going to pay for several $1 million worth of soccer fields? Where's that money going to come from?
That money will come from the transient room tax.
Oh,
right.
Well, we better get the hotels open up, flooding through. I mean, that's transient room tax is not going to touch expenses we're going to have.
And we're a couple of years from having that expense, so we'll just have to wait and see how that goes.
Well, I tell you, I mean, I respect your positions, and if y'all want to go that way, wait and see. We wait and see. But, we've been waiting and seeing for 15, 20 years in this county, and that's why we're that way right now.
I agree with that. We've been, and I think this fiscal courts did the responsible action to bite the bullet and impose the insurance tax. I think it was the right thing to do to help shore up the finances. But I think we will have some money available, and we'll just have to see how it comes in. And I don't think we should allocate that money till we know exactly what's going to happen with that.
Sheriff, did you say the figure 507,000 at some point?
I did.
And obviously I remember that, but I'm trying to remember what that figure represented.
That brings us within 80% of the city's pay scale.
And that would include road deputies, detectives, what other positions?
That is just based upon the 42 full-time sworn positions.
Well, thank you.
Excluding myself, obviously.
I
I'd
suspect,
like to see a plan.
yeah, I'd like to, I'll be bugging you a little bit next week if that's okay.
Anytime.
I'd like to do a little more math with you. But I think we're all interested in trying to work something out.
Any other discussion on that? All right, thanks, Sheriff.
Thank you.
Let's see now. Somebody say something. All right, on the court orders, A. Ready for 5A?
Yes, sir. It is ordered that a new 4-year road department union contract be approved.
I recommend this item be tabled until the union has time to react to our latest proposal. They have not, the union themselves have not approved the proposed agreement.
Move we table.
Second.
All in favor of tabling that then?
Aye.
Opposed, no. All right, that carries.
Steve, did you say that the union has not approved it, or has it been taken to them yet? Did they reject it, or they just not approved it?
We continue to meet and negotiate, and they were given another proposal based on our ongoing meetings last week, and they haven't formally responded to that yet. We're scheduling another meeting towards the end of this week.
Okay. At some point, can you just give us a bullet point summary of the changes and what the issues are?
Certainly will.
Thank you.
At 5B.
It is ordered that bid openings were held at 2:05 p.m. in the McCracken County Sheriff's Office. Said bid opening was for 6 2020 Dodge Durango Pursuit all-wheel drive vehicles. One bid was received, that being from Linwood Motors. Bid was taken under advisement.
So made.
Second. Second.
Discussion. Any discussion? No. All right, all in favor, aye.
Aye.
Opposed, no. Carries. C. Oh, let's see. C has been, C changed, the wording changed. I guess you guys, gentlemen, got to change the language.
Judge, they do not, but I have the change here. I will read the change. It is ordered that Linwood Motors of Paducah be awarded the bid for 2020 Dodge Durango all-wheel drive pursuit vehicles for use in the Sheriff's Department. The unit price is $27,763. It is further ordered that a purchase order be issued by the treasurer to purchase 6 vehicles. $152,039 will be paid from account number 18-2015-723. The balance of $14,539 will be paid by the sheriff using other means and not from Fund 18.
So made.
Second.
Discussion.
Steve, I've got a question. You gave us some numbers about how much was budgeted and how much over budget this would take us if we paid the full amount. And how much did we get from insurance for those vehicles that were involved in wrecks? And is that money equal to what's coming out of the sheriff's drug fund to pay for these?
Okay. So if you can see that, it kind of shows what happened. So we originally budgeted enough funds. We thought we were going to purchase 6 cars this year, and we took a budget guess that we would need approximately $180,000 to do that, and we thought that would just get us 6 vehicles. We bought one, an unplanned one, that we ran through the fiscal court a month ago as a result of a vehicle that was wrecked and taken out of service, and there was a settlement on that one. But we don't put insurance money right back into the sheriff's budget. It just shows up as revenue somewhere else in the budget. And so we had $152,000 left. But between the last time we talked about this and now, unfortunately, we've had a couple of other high mileage vehicles that have come out of service as well. And so I would recommend we still buy 6 and use up all of the available funds that we had budgeted, which is approximately $152,000. So the little dab that's extra, the sheriff offered to pay using some of his resources.
I guess I know the money doesn't go directly back to the sheriff's office. It goes back into the treasury. But how much money did we receive in insurance payments for the vehicles that were wrecked? Because that was unanticipated revenue.
I'm not sure of the exact number. Maybe the sheriff knows. Or
I know the vehicle in question that we're talking about here, Sergeant Ryan Wilcutt was in. It's when the tornado come through out at Mount Zion Church. The insurance check was in excess of $21,000. Myself and Steve had a conversation about this last week, and correct me if I'm wrong, since that was in a different budget cycle, that $21,000 cannot go towards the purchase of this vehicle. This vehicle, we attempted to get this vehicle replaced then, and was told that it was setting on the assembly line when COVID hit. Therefore, there was a very extended time period put on being able to get this vehicle, and to nobody's control, we haven't gotten it until we've entered the 2020-21 budget year. So basically, out of what you all awarded the sheriff's office to get in form of the 6 vehicles, really one of those was replaced almost in whole by insurance money last year. So
Yeah, I'm not opposed to the 6 vehicles. I'm just wondering if you can hold that money in the drug fund if we're making up for that amount of money in the insurance payments.
I didn't.
That's unanticipated revenue.
Are you talking about the 21,000?
No, the amount of money that you're taking out of the drug fund to pay for the additional vehicle. How much money is that goes out of the drug fund?
14,000 and some change.
You want him to keep it, or you're glad he's offering it up?
I'm kind of happy he's offering it.
I misunderstood the question.
My question is whether or not we have enough revenue coming in from insurance payments for wrecked vehicles to make up for the amount of money he's having to take out of the drug fund and the amount of money over the amount we had budgeted.
I guess that's a Steve question.
I'm not sure what you're asking. They're not really, the funds aren't related at all. And the what's at issue really had to do with the vehicle that was the Ford Explorer that was totaled. We received those monies for it in the prior year already, and the budget closed. We closed the books on the prior year, and due to the COVID situation, which is the same thing we ran into with the vehicles at B&E, we had a long lead time in waiting for them. So that vehicle showed up after July 1. So we just ran that one through the fiscal court. That's actually replacing a vehicle that we took out of service in the prior fiscal year. And we probably could have just gotten by with those 6, but then we had a couple others that in the last 2 weeks that we've had to take out of service. So at that point, Matt said, well, I can make up the difference. And I said, well, we'll use the last available resource in that particular line item mentioned in the order. The sheriff will put in 14,000 from his resources. We'll put the checks together and we'll buy 6, and then we'll actually have 7 new Durangos for this year, and we'll be in a little bit better shape than when we were when we started the year.
Okay, so did we have the motion and second on this already?
Yep.
I'm ready to vote when y'all are.
All right, any other discussion? All in favor, aye.
Aye.
Opposed, no. That carries.
It is ordered that the judge executive is authorized to execute the interlocal agreement regarding a joint application with the city for a Kentucky Division of Waste Management Hazardous Household Waste Grant Award. The county was previously authorized to join with the city in applying for this grant by order of March 24th, 2020.
So made.
Second.
Any discussion?
I love that word grant.
All right. All in favor, aye.
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 Opposed, no. That carries.
It is ordered that the judge executive is authorized to execute the county request and agreement for litter abatement program application to apply for the annual litter abatement funds through grant funding.
So made.
Second.
Discussion? That's got that word grant in it also.
I love that word.
All in favor, aye.
Aye.
Opposed, no. That carries.
It is ordered that $26,700 be paid to Berkeley Regional Airport Authority, same being proceeds from motor vehicle rental tax for quarter ending June 30, 2020.
So made.
Second.
Matt, how low did that go? What was that? Do you recall? Is that a dip? I would assume it is.
I'm sorry, Eddie, what was the question?
Well, I'm just wondering what the decline in that tax revenue for the quarter is. You could get, I put you on the spot.
That's okay. It's usually probably closer to 38, 39,000 probably in a quarter.
Okay. Thank you.
All in favor, aye.
Aye.
Opposed, no. That carries.
It is ordered to record the employee claims from June 17th, 2020 to August 4th, 2020 in the amount of $14,734.47 for HRA FSA transactions.
So made.
Second.
Any discussion? All in favor, aye.
Aye.
Opposed, no. That carries.
It is ordered to approve the July transient room tax in the amount of $203,597.84 to be dispersed as follows. Paducah CVB, $59,875.08. Convention Center, $40,569.77. Sports Tourism Commission, $61,829.70. Escrow Fund, $41,323.29.
So made.
Second.
Discussion?
Yeah, I got a question. There was a report when this thing first started and we got it, and I think we were told we really weren't supposed to get it. And it had the percentages on there. Does Pam, or do you get that, or Steve? Are we back up to 75 to 80%? I was told we are by somebody close to it.
We are not. I discussed this with the CBB director who tracks the industry very closely. And while we are performing well compared to some of our competitors in and outside of the state, we're nowhere near back to pre-COVID numbers. Of course, the bottom fell out of the industry in March, April, and May, and we have seen some recovery. And if you just follow these numbers, you can see that they're up basically over where they were a couple of months ago. But we are not anywhere near back to normal business activity.
So do you have a percentage or no, or?
I don't know that if she gets hers from an industry source that she pays for, and I don't think they're allowed to share that. So,
No, we typically get the CVB got $100,000 a year, and they're only getting 60,000, or $100,000 a month. They're only getting 60.
we can pretty well figure it out from there.
Any other discussion? All in favor, aye.
Aye.
Vote no. Carries. Board appointments.
It is ordered that Joy Cook is reappointed to the Board of Appeals Code Enforcement to serve a term beginning September 1, 2020, and which expires on August 30, 2022, subject to further orders of the court.
So made.
Second.
Discussion. All in favor, aye.
Aye.
Vote no. It carries.
It is ordered that David Conley is reappointed to the Board of Appeals Code Enforcement to serve a term beginning September 1, 2020, and which expires on August 30th, 2022, subject to further orders of the court.
So made.
Second.
Discussion. All in favor, aye.
Aye.
Votes no. It carries.
It is ordered that Barry Miller is reappointed to the Board of Appeals Code Enforcement to serve a term beginning August 1, 2020, and which expires on July 31, 2023, subject to further orders of the court.
So made.
Discussion. All in favor, aye.
Aye.
Votes no.
Aye.
That carries.
It is ordered that Mark Fogelsong is appointed to the Board of Appeals Code Enforcement to serve a term beginning August 1, 2020, and which expires on July 31, 2023, subject to further orders of the court.
So made.
Second.
Discussion. All in favor, aye.
Aye.
Votes no. That carries. Let me add, at this point, Vicki, I've got one more, we have one more appointment open.
On the Board of Appeals, yes, sir. I believe that the residential code requires 5 technically qualified, and this board has only ever had 4, but that leaves 1 seat open.
So, I really don't have anybody in mind. Like we can cast out a line. It needs to be a technically qualified person, which I think somebody in the building trades. I don't know about what technically qualified means, but certainly somebody who's got certain knowledge about.
Excuse me, sir, you're very difficult to hear.
Thank you.
What I was saying is we need someone who's technically qualified, which would be probably somebody who is or has been in building trades, that sort of thing. So if somebody has an idea, or if you do, let me know. We'll look into that. That sound better now?
Yeah, marvelous, good.
Okay. I guess I can't lay down. So I'm going to sit up. All right, the ordinances.
It is hereby ordered that pursuant to KRS Chapter 67, the second reading and adoption of ordinance number 2020-11 shall be conducted in summary format as follows. The McCracken County Fiscal Court at this meeting on August 10th, 2020 gives second reading to the ordinance titled as follows. An ordinance of the County of McCracken, Kentucky, authorizing and approving the issuance of a County of McCracken, Kentucky General Obligation Refunding Note, Series 2020B, in the aggregate principal amount of $1,472,500, subject to a permitted adjustment increasing the principal amount of the note by up to $147,500 or decreasing the principal amount of the note by any amount for the purpose of refunding the outstanding County of McCracken, Kentucky General Obligation Refunding Note, Series 2010, maturing on or after June 1, 2021, authorizing and approving an amended and restated interlocal cooperation agreement within the city of Paducah, Kentucky, the Paducah McCracken County Convention Center Corporation, the Paducah Convention and Visitors Bureau, and the McCracken County Sports Tourism Commission approving the form of the note, authorizing designated officers to execute and deliver the note, and the amended and restated interlocal cooperation agreement, authorizing the levy of a direct annual tax on all taxable property within the county, in addition to all other taxes, in an amount sufficient to pay the principal of and interest on the note when and as the same becomes due, providing for the payment and security of the notes, maintaining the heretofore established sinking fund, and repealing inconsistent ordinances. This ordinance authorizes the issuance of a general obligation refunding note designated as Series 2020B in the approximate principal amount of $1,472,500, the note, by the County of McCracken, Kentucky, the county. The note is to be issued for the purpose of assisting the city of Paducah, Kentucky, the city, in the refunding of the city's outstanding general obligation refunding bonds, Series 2010B, the prior bonds, maturing on or after June 1, 2021, the proceeds of which were used to refund the city's general obligation bond, series of 2001, Convention and Arts Center projects, proceeds of which were used to finance the cost of an expansion of the Julian Carroll Convention Center and to construct the Four Rivers Center for the Performing Arts, collectively the project. The note will be issued in an aggregate principal amount equal to 50% of the aggregate principal amount of the refunding bonds to be issued by the city. The ordinance further authorizes the execution and delivery by the county of an amended and restated interlocal cooperation agreement, the interlocal amendment, by and among the county, the city, the Paducah McCracken County Convention Center Corporation, the Paducah Convention and Visitors Bureau, and the McCracken County Sports Tourism Commission. Pursuant to the ordinance and the interlocal agreement, certain transient room taxes to be received from the Bureau and the payments by the county under the note will be pledged as additional security for the bonds. Provisions are made in the ordinance for the payment of the note and the security therefore, for the application of the proceeds of the notes, for the establishment of a note payment fund, for the maintenance of the previously established sinking fund, for certain covenants of the county with respect to the note, and for the execution of such additional instruments as shall be necessary to accomplish the plan of refunding. The note shall mature in varying amounts on June 1st of each year of the years 2021 through 2026. The note pledges the full faith and credit of the county, and provision is made for the collection of a tax to pay the principal of and interest on the note, subject to certain credits, as provided in the ordinance and the interlocal agreement, as required by KRS 83A.060. The following Section 8 of the ordinance is set forth in its entirety. Section 8, General Obligation Maintenance of Sinking Fund. The refunding note shall be a full general obligation of the county, and for the payment of the refunding note and the interest thereon, the full faith, credit, and taxing power of the county are hereby pledged for the prompt payment thereof. During the period the refunding note is outstanding, there shall be and there hereby is levied on all the taxable property in the county. Excuse me 1 second. In addition to all other taxes without limitation as to rate, a direct tax annually in an amount sufficient to pay the principal of and interest on the notes when and as due, it being hereby found and determined that current tax rates are within all applicable limitations. The tax shall be and is hereby ordered computed, certified, levied, and extended upon the tax duplicate and collected by the same officers in the same manner and at the same time that taxes for general purposes for each of the years are certified, extended, and collected. The tax shall be placed before and in preference to all other items and for the full amount thereof, provided, however, that in each year to the extent that the other lawfully available funds of the county, including amounts available therefore pursuant to the interlocal agreement, are available for the payment of the refunding note and are appropriated for such purpose. The amount of such direct tax upon all the taxable property in the county shall be reduced by the amount of such other funds so available and appropriated pursuant to an ordinance adopted on May 21, 2001. There has heretofore been established with the county a sinking fund, the sinking fund, which is hereby ordered to be maintained and continued as long as the refunding notes shall remain outstanding and unpaid. The funds derived from the tax levy hereby required or other lawfully available funds shall be placed in the sinking fund, and together with interest collected on the same are irrevocably pledged for the payment of the interest on and principal of all bonds and notes issued under the General Obligation Act and tax supported leases as defined in the General Obligation Act when and as the same fall due. Amounts shall be transferred from the sinking fund to the bonds payment fund at the times and in the amounts required by Section 7 hereof. Reference is hereby made to the full text of the ordinance, a copy of which is on file at the offices of the Judge Executive for a complete statement of its provisions and terms. The undersigned attorney at law licensed to practice in Kentucky hereby certifies that the foregoing title summary of ordinance of the County of McCracken, Kentucky was prepared by the undersigned and constitutes a general summary of essential provisions of the ordinance, reference to the full text of which ordinance is hereby made for a complete statement of its provisions and terms, signed by Mark S. Franklin, Dinsmore and Scholl, LLP, 101 South Fifth Street, Suite 2500, Louisville, Kentucky, 40245.
Good job. So moved.
Second.
Motion second, any discussion?
I've got a question, Steve. This new ordinance includes the definition of bonds, is that right? They added that to the revised ordinance.
Yes, as if you want to go to page 7 in the interlocal agreement,
Right, I saw that in there.
you will see that, and that was pursuant to your discussion with Mr. Franklin at the last meeting.
Okay. And as was discussed the last meeting, if the interest rates come in at a rate that's would require additional payments beyond what the obligation is now, they would not sell the bonds. Is that correct?
Correct.
And the projection is the interest would come in about 1%. That analysis you sent me, is that
included a significant analysis and approximately 1%. And if you look at what we just sold our bond anticipation note for, that's not an unreasonable expectation. And we'll save a total of about $160,000 over the life of this bond, which only has about 5 years left in it, or 4 years.
right? Okay. Thank you.
Any other discussion? All in favor, aye.
Aye.
Opposed, no. That carries.
C, it is hereby ordered that pursuant to KRS Chapter 67, the second reading and adoption of ordinance number 2020-12 shall be conducted in summary format as follows. McCracken County, Kentucky, McCracken County Fiscal Court, ordinance number 2020-12. An ordinance approving the form, content, and legality of the amended and restated interlocal cooperation agreement by and between the City of Paducah, Kentucky, the County of McCracken, Kentucky, the Paducah Convention and Visitors Bureau, formerly known as the Paducah-McCracken County Tourist and Convention Commission, the Paducah-McCracken County Convention Center Corporation, and the McCracken County Sports Tourism Commission, and authorizing the McCracken County Judge Executive to execute the same. Summary, the action effectuated in the present ordinance is authorized by Kentucky Revised Statutes, Chapter 91A, and Section 65.210 to 65.314. The present ordinance formalizes the approval of the McCracken County Fiscal Court of an amended and restated interlocal cooperation agreement into, by, and between the City of Paducah, County of McCracken, the Paducah Convention and Visitors Bureau, formerly known as the Paducah-McCracken County Tourist and Convention Commission, the Paducah-McCracken County Convention Center Corporation, and the McCracken County Sports Tourism Commission. Further, The present ordinance formalizes the McCracken County Fiscal Court's authorization of the McCracken County Judge Executive to execute the agreement on behalf of the county. Certification, it is hereby certified by the McCracken County Fiscal Court that the present summary represents an accurate official statement of the main points and contents of ordinance number 2020-12. Public inspection, a true and correct copy of ordinance number 2020-12 shall be made available for public inspection in its whole and complete form by the McCracken County Judge Executive's Office. Any person desiring to inspect ordinance number 2020-12 shall contact the McCracken County Judge Executive's Office via telephone at 270-444-4707 to make arrangements for the transmission or delivery of same.
So move.
Second.
Second.
I was muted. We got a motion and a second. Any discussion?
Just a clarification, Steve, as we've discussed earlier, this only pertains to this new bond issue, right? Our only obligation in this agreement is through the date that this bond issue is repaid. Is that correct?
Correct.
And if the city wants to issue another bond for another project for the performing arts or the convention center, we also would have to approve that. Is that correct?
Correct.
Right. Okay. Thank you. Just wanted to confirm that. I knew that was right.
Okay. All in favor, aye.
Aye.
Opposed, no. And carried.
It is hereby ordered that pursuant to KRS Chapter 67, the second reading and adoption of ordinance number 2020-13 shall be conducted in summary format as follows. Commonwealth of Kentucky, McCracken Fiscal Court, ordinance number 2020-13, and ordinance amending McCracken County ordinance number 2020-03 by making changes to the McCracken County Administrative Code pertaining to provisions in the following area: Chapter 5, Codes of Conduct, and Chapter 5, Alcohol and Drug Policy. Summary: the present action is required and mandated by KRS 67.710 and operates to amend the McCracken County Administrative Code within Chapter 5 entitled Policies and Procedures by amending the section entitled Nepotism and by deleting and creating a new section entitled Drug and Alcohol Policy. The purpose of this amendment is to provide clear notification to county employees as well as to the citizens of McCracken County of the requirement of all employees of the county. Certification: it is hereby certified by the McCracken County Fiscal Court that the present summary represents an accurate official statement of the main points and contents of ordinance number 2020-13, public inspection. A true and correct copy of ordinance number 2020-13 shall be made available for public inspection in its whole and complete form by the McCracken County Judge Executive's Office. Any person desiring to inspect ordinance number 2020-13 shall contact the McCracken County Judge Executive's Office via telephone at 270-444-4707 to make arrangements for the transmission or delivery of same.
So move.
Second.
Discussion. All in favor, aye.
Aye.
Opposed, no. That carried.
D, it is hereby ordered that pursuant to KRS Chapter 67, the first reading of ordinance number 2020-14 shall be conducted in summary format as follows. McCracken County, Kentucky, McCracken County Fiscal Court, ordinance number 2020-14, an ordinance of the McCracken Fiscal Court authorizing and approving the establishment of the McCracken County Industrial Development Authority, Inc., and authorizing the execution of legal documents related thereto. Summary: the action effectuated in the present ordinance is authorized by Kentucky Revised Statutes, Chapter 91A and Section 65.210 to 65.314, as well as Local Industrial Development Authority Act KRS 154.50-301 et seg. The present ordinance establishes a nonprofit, non-stock corporation for the performance of public, civic, and governmental purposes to act as the agent and instrumentality and the constituted authority of McCracken County, Kentucky in the acquisition, retention, and development of industrial sites, parks and subdivisions and/or land and improvements thereon, including buildings, fixtures, and equipment suitable for one or more manufacturers, industries, or commercial establishments to meet industrial and commercial needs within the county, and authorizes the execution of legal documents related thereto by the judge executive on behalf of the county. Certification: it is hereby certified by the McCracken County Fiscal Court that the present summary represents an accurate official statement of the main points of and contents of ordinance number 2020-14. Public inspection: a true and correct copy of ordinance number 2020-14 shall be made available for public inspection in its whole and complete form by the McCracken County Judge Executive's Office. Any person desiring to inspect ordinance number 2020-14 shall contact the McCracken County Judge Executive's Office via telephone at 270-444-4707 to make arrangements for the transmission or delivery of same.
So move.
Second.
Got a motion and second. Any discussion?
I did notice, so in the articles of incorporation, says that the members are appointed by the judge executive. I guess our administrative code would require the approval. I'm just wondering if we want to make the articles consistent with our administrative code.
Well, this question came up before, and or maybe it hadn't with all of you, but the articles say the judge will appoint them, but when you go to how we operate and appoint boards, you refer to the administrative code that says the judge makes the appointment, and then the commissioners confirm that decision.
So do you think we need to say that in the articles or not?
I do not think so, because it's covered by the administrative code. And so in the event at any point in the future, the fiscal court would want to change that, instead of changing every ordinance and every board that was ever designed, it'd be easier just to make whatever tweak they needed to make in the administrative code.
That makes sense.
Should that say then the pursuant to the provisions of the administrative code? Just make sure there's no confusion.
I don't think, well, when I discussed this with Carrie, I don't think that's a confusing matter, Commissioner. But we can change the language if you guys want to.
What was Commissioner Barwin's question?
Should we amend it to say pursuant to the terms of the administrative code, the appointments? The judge shall make the appointments pursuant to the terms of the administrative code. Then there's no confusion. What do you think, Commissioner Jones?
Well, I mean, I think that's consistent. I think I would prefer that if I were deciding all by myself. That's how I'd do it.
If that's the way you feel, I'll make that motion if you'll second it as an amendment.
I'll second it.
Okay, we're going to motion second. Why would we not just go ahead and say to be confirmed by the fiscal court?
No, we'll just say pursuant to terms of the administrative code. Mr. Doolittle indicated if we change the administrative code, we'd have to go back and change every ordinance pertaining to judge appointments. So if we just say pursuant to the administrative code, then if we make change in the administrative code, we don't have to change this ordinance. Is that right, Steve? Is that what your concern was?
Okay.
Excuse me, commissioners and judge, this ordinance doesn't really refer to the articles. Are you amending the language of the first reading of the ordinance? The articles of incorporation are a totally separate document.
That's an excellent point. Really, the ordinance doesn't reference the articles. It just says the judge, we authorize him to do that.
And then the articles and bylaws are done after the ordinance is adopted, and then the language in the articles would be corrected to the way that you want.
So you're saying there'll be another vote for the articles later in life?
I'm sorry, as clerk, I do not know that.
Okay. Well,
I just know this ordinance does not, I don't think refers to articles anywhere for you to amend in this ordinance.
I agree with you. Excellent point. So I guess we're just making the, so what's your thought, Steve? I hate for us to come back and have to do these articles again.
So my thought when you were doing that was we'll just make the change to the articles of incorporation. It does not affect how the ordinance is going to read.
Right. That sounds good to me.
Vicki, do you agree?
Yes, sir, I do.
So do you want to, your motion still stands, Mr. Bartleman, to change?
No, that motion would be out of order right now because it's not in the ordinance, not on what we're voting on. So that motion would be out of order, am I right?
Yes.
Yeah.
We're still going to.
Out of order or not, you're making it, but you want to withdraw that then?
I'll withdraw my motion.
Okay. All right. So any other discussion? All in favor, aye.
Aye.
Opposed, no. All right, that carries. Resolution.
It is ordered that the designating resolution designating the McCracken County Industrial Development Authority, Inc. as McCracken County's Industrial Development Authority to receive Tennessee Valley Authority TDA funds under the Regional Development Agency Assistance Program is hereby adopted.
So moved.
Second.
Discussion. None? All in favor, aye.
Aye.
Opposed, no. That carries. And then we have one item for executive session. A motion to move to executive session.
So made.
Second.
So there's a motion to move to executive session. It would be for the to discuss future sale or acquisition of a specific parcel of real estate as permitted by KRS 61.8101B. Any discussion? All in favor, aye.
Aye.
Opposed, no. That carries. We are not going to take any action following that executive session discussion. I don't believe. I can't imagine what it would be. Do you, Steve?
No, we won't come back and take any action.
Okay, and so we'll just come back and adjourn after that. So Vicki, Pam, others, if you're wanting to move on.
Vicki, I'll make that motion for when we come back, and I'm sure one of the other commissioners will second it, so you can go on.
I will second.
Certainly, commissioners, thank you.
All in favor of that, aye.
Aye.
No. All right, that carries. All right, so we will need to, we'll give Steve a few minutes. Why don't we do this while Steve working his magic to get us off the public airs. Let's take about a 5-minute recess. And let's see, it's about 5 till 7, so we'll be back at 7. All right, thank you.